Record.
Lovely.
All right, aloha everybody. Welcome back to our last one actually, sadly, of the semester of our McKay Center forums, where we've invited our faculty, our alumni, and now one of our current students, one of our McKay Center field directors, to join us to talk about various aspects of peace building and think about potential careers, potential graduate school options. And there's so many to cover. We didn't cover all of them this semester, but I'm really excited to be able to cover this one with Isabella. Isabella's she's a peace building major in our program and has been a field director. Man, now it's like a year and a half. And she's actually been directing our field director program this semester as well, and is just an amazing person who has done so many great things on our campus. Most of our students, I think, know her well. If you're tuning in from the outside and you haven't met her yet, she's just got so much to offer, and she's going to talk about allyship and peace building today, which I know is a topic that many of our students are really interested in, and certainly very timely and a much needed part of peace building. And so I'm going to toss it over to Bella, and she's going to walk us through her presentation, and then we'll have plenty of time for questions. And you can put questions in our chat session here at Zoom. If you're following along on Facebook, you can put it in the comments section, and I'll be monitoring those, Bella, for you. And if things come up, I'll toss them to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Chad. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and get started. Sorry, my computer is loading. I am going to share my screen. Okay. So I called my presentation Allyship and Peacebuilding, but I'm going to be talking less about allyship and more just how you can kind of make that happen in your peacebuilding career. So I'm going to be sharing, what's been working for me. Can everyone see my presentation okay? Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to be sharing what's worked for me and what I've been doing. This might not be your path, but this is what I've been doing and the expertise that I can share based on my own experience. So this is my allyship journey with peace building. And so I titled my presentation, What Mistakes You Should Be Making Right Now. So there's a story that I came across a couple years ago. And this story is talking about how a man was passing some elephants, and he stopped suddenly, confused by the fact that these huge creatures were being held by only a small rope tied to their front leg. There weren't any chains, no cages, and it was obvious that the elephants could at any time break away from their bonds, but for some reason they did not. And he saw a trainer nearby, and he asked why these animals just stood there and made no attempt to get away. Well, the trainer said, when they are very young and much smaller, we use the same rope to tie them, and at their age, at the time, it's enough to hold them. And as they grow up, they are conditioned to believe that they cannot break away. They believe the rope can still hold them, so they never tried to break free. And the man was amazed that these huge animals could break away at any time, but because of their bonds, they believed they couldn't, so they were stuck right where they were. So I'm going to let you guys hold on to that thought and continue. So just about me, my name is Isabella Dearaujo. I'm from Irvine, California originally, and I am 22 years old. This is my senior year of college. So I took off a year after high school, didn't really know what to do with my life, and I started college at BYU Hawaii in 2017. So I actually started in the business track. I took a couple classes in business, realized I didn't like business, so I switched to English, took a couple classes in English. I still love English, but decided that I didn't want to do English. So then I switched to art, and I took a ton of classes in art, but then realized that I didn't want to do art as a major. So I switched to education, and I took a couple classes in education, and I was really good at teaching, but I didn't want to go into teaching as a profession. And so out of just happenstance, I joined 121 because I didn't know what to do. And so I just took a random class. And that was when I switched to peace building in 2018. Okay, So why did I switch to peace building? I really liked working with humans. So I've always been passionate about volunteering. If you look at this picture of me, this is me in like middle school volunteering with my friends as part of the youth action team in my community. I've also been very passionate about advocacy and learning. Peace building was a really great fit for me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make a lot of money in it, but honestly, that wasn't really my goal with college. Is I just wanted to help people. And I actually only started going to college because I wanted to join the Peace Corps, and you have to have a college degree to join the Peace Corps. So I didn't care what I majored in. So I ended up in peace building, and I've actually really liked it since. So I just want to talk about today about what you should be doing with kind of like your life right now, whether you're in college or whether you're out of college and just trying to like figure things out. This is applicable to any major and any stage of life. So this is kind of what I did to help me figure out what I want to do with my life. So step one is just to find something that you're passionate about. So with allyship and just life in general, I would recommend having at least one thing that you're passionate about. Super important because it's going to be what drives you in your free time. And it could be anything. So for me, my allyship journey and kind of my journey with peace building started with this message. So this is from 2017. Talking with my friends one night, there's a group of us girls all in a group chat. And one of my friends messaged me and she's like, guys, I just got catcalled and it was disgusting. And the rest of this message, which is very long, is just us relating to experiences where we had been catcalled or harassed by others. And just like the overall feeling of just, ooh, like this is not a great experience. And as I got older and in college, this conversation happened multiple times. In many different friend groups and with new people, and just about our experiences with just being harassed and just not great things that we didn't like happening to us. So I got, kind of upset about this. This is something that kind of drove me. And so the second thing that I did is I started researching. So volunteermatch.org is what I did back in home in Irvine. It's located in several states, but basically I just typed into Google, like, what can I do? How can I be helping and where? I don't like this one particular thing that's happening to me, and it's not the first time that it's happened to me and to anyone around me. So I was just like, how can I help, and like, how can I address this issue? So at the time I was really passionate about women empowerment, things like that. So I started looking to places where I could kind of help other young women who had been in this situation to kind of empower themselves and get past it. And so I started working with the YMCA of Anaheim as a youth counselor for their camps. It was a super amazing experience. I ended up doing it for 1 week every year or 2 weeks. And in that program, when I was around the kids, I just really tried to emphasize, standing up for yourself and being a voice and what's okay and what's not okay. The second thing that I started doing is I started writing. So there are lots of different ways that you can do this. You write about 14 essays a year for school. I would recommend to take one of those essays that you really like and just make it really, really good. You're going to be writing these essays anyway. They're there, it's your voice, and you have an opinion, and it deserves to be heard. There are lots of these are things that I've personally entered. I haven't won all these things, but you personally at BYU Hawaii, we have the Kulamanu. Any essay contests for BYU are also open for BYU H students and BYU I students. So any of those contents, and it will say too, if it's open for just BYU or all the campuses. So we have the Richard H. Crawcroft Personal Essay Contest. The Norton's Writer Prize is open to any undergraduate student from a 2-year or 4-year university. And then there's the Undergraduate Literature Conference. And all of these things you can just submit. You don't need any qualifications, like you don't need to be in a certain major. It's just something to submit. And these are just like 4 out of several that I came up with. I personally entered the National Undergraduate Literature Conference, and my essay got selected to speak about, and it was a super amazing experience. It's something that you can put on your resumes and on applications for internships. If you say like, oh, I got published to the Kulamanu, which is my school's literary magazine, that's awesome. They're not going to know that it's like just a small little thing. That's really cool that you got published and that you're writing about something that you're passionate about. So I really encourage you guys to take an essay or an idea and polish it and just submit it. Even if you don't get recognized for it, it's important because then you have that ready in case you do need it. Okay, the last thing that you want to do is you just want to join whatever and whenever you can. So this is pretty much the start of an email that I send out like every other week to different organizations. Hi, my name is Isabella Dearaujo. I'm a senior at Brigham Young University, Hawaii, and I was really interested in what your organization was working towards. I was hoping to set up like an internship or volunteer opportunity with you guys. Could we just set up a call tomorrow? And then I either drive right up to the place and ask them to meet with me, or I email them or call them. You're almost always unqualified to be volunteering or internshipping with places and people, but I would say try anyways, because I'm volunteering currently at the Waimea Valley down in Pupukea, and I've really loved it, and I'm learning a lot more about conservation work and peace ecology, and it's been awesome. I have never worked with plants in my life, but it's been super great, and it's something that I'm able to put on my resume if that's a field that I want to go in later. If you're having trouble finding things to join, I tell you to ask yourself, like, well, what are you good at and what are your skills? So me personally, I really enjoy doing art. I feel like I'm somewhat good at it. I'm also really great with people, and I like to talk to others, and I feel like I'm good with kids. Those are the things that I'm good at. Sometimes all you can offer is just your hands and your time, and that's okay. Most places, I would say, are okay with that. They'll be like, okay, yeah, you have capable hands and you have time, so let's go ahead and use you for this. And I promise you that you do have the time. Time is the greatest equalizer of all of the histories of every human being on the entire planet. Everyone only has 24 hours in the day. So we have the time to volunteer and we have the time to engage. If your screen time on your phone is more than 30 minutes, then you have time to volunteer at least once a week. And usually places that you're volunteering at are only asking for maybe once a week or twice a week for a couple of hours. And maybe you'll only do it for 3 months or 2 months or a month or 3 weeks. It doesn't matter. But if you have that, you committed a certain amount of time when you didn't have to a place, that's going to be awesome to put on any application or college graduate applications, a resume. People want to see that you're engaged. I also, going off of this, I want to say, like, connect with your professors as much as possible. The professors that you're meeting with right now, you want them to know your name. We're really blessed at this university to have a really small campus, and I would definitely take advantage of that. I know all of my professors from every class I've ever taken, and most of them probably remember me because I'm the annoying person that emails them 100 times a day. That's great. That's perfect. You want to be that person. If you are remembered by a professor for being like the email queen, that's better than not being remembered at all. Because if you need a recommendation or if you need some help deciding like the class or with a project, you want to be able to go up to those people and be like, hey, I really liked your class. I was in your class like 2 years ago. Can you help me with this? And that's something that I've really taken advantage of, and I feel really blessed to be able to do because I've just had a lot of great opportunities helping my professors and working with my professors. So I really encourage you guys to do that. If you haven't already, and if you don't have one professor that you're thinking of right now where you're like, yeah, I know that professor, then work on that next semester. Okay, and you're probably asking why though? Why is Isabella telling me to do these things? I'm just gonna say you want to stand out. I've been in the process of looking at graduate schools and looking at jobs and starting to apply for those things. And this applies for any major and any job in any organization. You have to convince them that they want to hire you. You just have to convince them to hire you. So if you don't have like at least like one project that you're passionate about or an essay that you're really proud of or something, then I would get on that, because I feel like that's super important in a college career, to just have something that puts you at a different stance than someone else, right? So back in the old days, they used to have these things called epic ballads because they didn't have social media and they didn't have LinkedIn. And so basically these epic ballads were ballads that bards would sing across the land, telling you of the amazing tales that you did. And it's kind of like a humble brag type of deal. So I have compiled my own epic ballad, and these are things that I've done in my college career that I'm really proud of. So I'm going to take this moment to kind of humble brag, epic ballad about myself, to kind of inspire you guys on what maybe you should be looking at or trying to do. So one, I applied to be a field director for the David O. McKay Center. I was in my second year of college. I had only taken 121. I was 100% not qualified for the position, or at least I thought. I thought that I wasn't qualified for the position. But I applied and I got in anyway.
You were, Bella.
And, what?
You were
Oh,
qualified.
Chad is saying I was qualified. I didn't think I was qualified. I almost didn't apply. But I applied and I got the position, and I was really, really grateful for the opportunity. This completely changed the trajectory of my college career and my life. I just started getting super involved in college and started really thinking about career options after college. While at this job, I continued an anti-bullying project at Laie Elementary School. This then turned into an opportunity to start my very own peace project at Sunset Elementary School. So talent that I have is I'm really passionate about working with kids. So I started this project and I was able to work with the principal of Sunset Elementary School to establish a project where I was implementing my peace building principles that I had learned in school to then teach to a younger generation. And it was super helpful for the school. This is something that they had asked for and needed, and I was really grateful to be able to help out. I also created and taught my own peer mediation program at Kahuku High School. It was cut short because of COVID, but I basically just walked up to the school office and asked if the counselor had time to talk to me. And I told her about my plans and asked if this is something that she needed and was interested. And they ended up saying yes. So I implemented that program and it was great. I had a lot of fun doing it. Again, it was kind of cut short, but I didn't think that I would be able to just like start a project because I wanted to, and I was able to. I also decided that I was really passionate about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I made my own forum and presented it in front of several professors across departments and students. This is the Genderbread Forum. If you've gone to it, it's great. It's fun. I think it's fun. And I tried to do it every semester. And I got a bunch of people to come because I reached out to the professors that I knew and asked if I could advertise in their class. And most of them said yes. And that was a really great experience. So a disclaimer to these accomplishments is I could do these projects because I had the help and the support of the David O. McKay Center and because it was my job. But a disclaimer to that disclaimer is as a peace building student, you also have the resources, support, and help of the David O. McKay Center, especially the field directors. We want to be able to work with the students, and we love hearing projects from students that people need help getting off the ground because it's literally our job to help establish peace. And if your project is going to be establishing peace in some way, then we're here to help. You just need to ask, and you can be pushy, and you can be annoying, and you can email as many times as you want, because that's kind of how things get going. So I want to talk about kind of the juggling act that you have to do. So our lives are complicated. We have school and homework and work stress and talking to your parents and relationships with your siblings and emailing your professors and starting new projects and wanting to try that new hobby and getting 8+ hours of sleep and getting good grades and going to the doctors and getting your oil changed in your car and falling in love and having kids and raising kids. There's so much that we have to do every single day, right? And, if you break it down, usually you need to work around 8 hours a day to make a living, and maybe like 8 hours to sleep and function. If you're in school or you have a family life, that's going to take about 4 to 8 hours. And I'm not a math major, but I do know that that means you have very limited time to do other things in your life, right? And so the short answer is you're not going to be able to do everything. So with our juggling act of all these things, you're going to drop the ball sometimes. It's just figuring out what you're going to be dropping. If everything in your life represents a glass ball or a plastic ball, then you might drop one, right? So if you're juggling and you drop a glass ball, it's going to shatter and it's going to break and it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a headache. But if you drop a plastic ball, it will just kind of like bounce off, roll away, and then you can pick it up and start again. So if in your day you have to decide between getting 8 hours of sleep or eating breakfast or going to that meeting on time, and you decide that going to that meeting on time is a glass ball, then maybe you're going to get a little bit less sleep, or maybe you won't eat as big of a breakfast as you planned. And that's everything. Things are going to change. Maybe for that week, eating breakfast and getting 8 hours of sleep is a glass ball, and you don't want to drop that. And so instead, you decide to prioritize that, and maybe you go to your meeting a little bit late. You're not going to be able to do everything 100%, but it is really important to prioritize what you need to do. Right now in college, I would say that taking care of yourself is super important. I would always make that a priority when you can. But also trying new things and going outside your comfort zone is also important. So try to make that a priority when you can, but also be okay with those priorities shifting. It's not going to be the same every week. I can't tell you how many times Chad can attest to this, that, I was late to a meeting, or I, didn't complete all my homework assignments on time. But that week I was able to maybe reach out to someone who needed it, or take care of myself a little bit better, or engage in some self-care. So it's just about prioritizing and figuring out what's the most important thing for that week. And you always have a choice to, rearrange that and make it better and make it work for you. So kind of just an overall look is, 1, find something that you're passionate about. And while you're in college and in the Peacebuilding program, research classes that match up with this. So if you're passionate about, nature and plants, maybe volunteer at the Waimea Valley, and then take peace ecology from David Whippy. If you're really passionate about diversity, equity, inclusion like me, take the gender and peacebuilding class that's offered in spring. And research volunteer opportunities like the Trevor Project that are going to help kind of boost your advocacy and your profile in that field. If you're passionate about, politics and political polarization, I know that Chad has a class on that. I haven't taken it, but I hear it's really great. So just look into the classes and keep in mind what's available for you as a student. Again, research, write, and join. So write about the things that you're passionate about, research the things that you're passionate about, find an area to volunteer, get involved, do something, write an essay, do a project. You should have one thing after graduating college, or at least one thing every year that you're proud of. So after every year of school, you should have an essay or a project or something that you're proud of that's like, yeah, this year I did this and that was really cool, that you can put on a resume and that you can put on an application to grad school or just on something, just so you have it on your plate ready to go if you need it. 3, create your own epic ballad. You're almost always unqualified, but do it anyway. Or you think that you're unqualified, do it anyway. I didn't think that I would be able to do any of the things that I did this year. I never thought that I could, start my own project, and I never thought that I could just create a volunteer opportunity out of thin air. But push yourself. And the last point, push yourself, but balance your act. So what things are you going to catch this week? And what are you going to drop? And which ones are important? And figure that out. And it's okay if you drop things. You're not going to get it right 100%. With allyship, it's an ongoing process. Where I was a year ago with being an ally and advocating for different things is not where I am now. And I've gotten better, and there's still a lot of work to do, but you just have to keep in mind that it's a balancing act. So going back to the story from the beginning, is the elephants with this rope is they didn't think that they could break free, even though they could, because they had just been taught when they were younger that they couldn't. I feel like this is the case with a lot of us in college, is maybe we were not in like a super wealthy school district, and so we didn't have a lot of opportunities, or maybe we just didn't have the support from our parents or a community, or whatever the case may be, or maybe you just like had never thought about it. I feel like we get in our heads that we can't do these things because no one's told us that we could. I would just say go for it. And it sounds really cheesy and like really cringy, I know, because that's pretty much how I felt anytime anyone said that to me, until I started doing it. And then everyone would ask me like, well, how did you do this? And what was kind of your path there? And you kind of just have to like do it. And it's uncomfortable, but it's very doable. And I really encourage you guys to reach out and explore those options for yourself. I think that's actually, that's the end of my presentation. Again, I didn't really go into allyship, but I could answer questions about that if you'd like. If you have any questions for me about specific projects or things that I've done, I left some time to talk about that. So let me know. Thank you for coming and listening to me speak for 30 minutes.
Okay, Bella, thank you so much. Really great information. I hope you were following it closely. Just Bella previewed this early on, saying I hope a lot of 121 students come and see this, because I think there's some great stuff there, and I think it's an awesome introduction about also what you can do here and now to start building what it is that you want to do in the future. And there are really great opportunities, including with the McKay Center, and Bella's a great example of that. If you want to put questions to Bella, you can type them into our chat here, and that's one option. Bella, maybe you can drop the screen share now, and we'll all get together. And also, if you are on Facebook right now and you want to chime in that way, we're happy to take your questions there as well. And like Bella said, she's open to talking about lots of different things. Okay, so here's a question. What's been the project you're most proud of? This is from Evelyn.
Oh yeah, the project that I'm most proud of is definitely, actually, I feel like I'm torn. So the Peace Project is a project that I did with Sunset Beach Elementary School. Basically what had happened was I was talking to the principal of the elementary school, and I was like, she had been the assistant principal at Latin Elementary School, so I had worked with her. And I was like, hey, I'd really like to do like an anti-bullying campaign with Sunset. Is that something that you guys would need? And then she was like, well, actually, we have this group of students that have just been, really struggling in the classes. And we think that maybe a different type of teaching would really benefit them. And I think peace building principles could really benefit them. So that was a pretty intense project. I went to the school for 2 hours twice a week, so Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I was just with this group, 10 boys, sixth graders, talking about peace building and peace principles. And I'm pretty proud about that project because I felt like it had an impact on the kids and in the community. I felt that there was like I was able to work with another student, Gwen. She's amazing. And we had a lot of fun together, but also I felt glad that I could actually show that my peace building teachings were helping people and we're actually like helping these kids. So I'm pretty proud of that. It was a lot of work, a lot of emails. If you look at the email chain from that, it has like 6 faculty on it, and we're all going back and forth about the project. But yeah, it was a pretty good experience, and I'm very proud of that.
I just want to give a shout out to Bella around that as well, because we've received great feedback from Eliza Elkington, who's the principal of the school, and that would have been a major ongoing project, I think, for us this year had COVID not struck, obviously, and our kids weren't able to come back to school. They actually just went back to school for the first time this week at Sunset. So maybe something will happen next semester with that. If that's something that you're interested in. But just a great example of community impact, being able to translate these skills, and just a really great opportunity. Okay, other questions that people have for Bella? And again, she's also happy and excited to talk more about allyship, if that's something that interests you. I see we have Hal on, and I know Hal has also been heavily involved with working in allyship as well with several organizations here in Hawaii. And so just want to invite anybody that has any questions about that as well to chime in. Well, Bella, I don't know. Everybody's being a little shy, so maybe let's talk a little bit about that and the role that allyship plays in peace building. And I thought we'd get more questions about this because it's something that comes up a lot in class, and that I feel like is on a lot of people's minds right now, especially given everything that's happening in our country and in our world right now. And so maybe you can talk a little bit about it from your perspective and the role that you see it playing.
Yeah, allyship is probably the biggest thing that has come out of my peace building career. So the thing, allyship is, if I were to like break it down in a really like easy, in my own words, allyship is when you're not a part of a community that's struggling, but you want to show support. And it's basically, that can be support for anything. So for me personally, the LGBTQIA+ community has something that I've been really passionate about, being an ally for that. And there's a spectrum of allies, right? You have, with any problem or issue, there's going to be a starting point. At one point, you're not going to be, you don't know anything about the issue, you don't know anything about the problem, but maybe you're just willing to listen. And that's the first step of allyship, is just listening and accepting that, okay, yeah, I don't know what's going on with this, but I want to learn more. And kind of the next step after that is listening and then having a conversation about it, right? And not being the person that's dominating the conversation, but willing to learn more and kind of going back and forth on that. And then after allyship, you have advocacy. So that's after you've had this conversation, you're like, okay, I've heard this and I'm willing to go out with you and make change. And that goes for, like I said, any issue. Recently, we've had a lot of problem, or recently there's been, it's not new, but we've seen more light shed on the racism problem in America. And we've also seen a lot of light shed on, some policies and political things that have kind of like come out of this election. And so if you see people who are struggling or who are mad, or, are saying that this is a problem, I feel like the first step is to just listen and ask, and be kind of humble about it. I see a hand has been raised.
Yeah, it's Hao,
Hi, Hao.
one of our great IPB students from Vietnam, who I know is
Hey guys, hi Bella, you're doing so great. I'm so proud of you. First of all, I want to say that you look great today. And thank you for your presentation. So I was when you were talking about allyship, I was thinking about what I'm doing right here with Affirmation Hawaii chapter. And for all of you who haven't done Affirmation Hawaii chapter, it is a community of LGBTQ community that support, love, and accept LGBT individual and their intersection with the Church of Jesus Christ in Latter-day Saints. So we support Mormon LGBT individuals and love them and support them to be who they are with the best self of best version of themselves. So my question for you here is Bella, I have a lot of people reach out to me, reach out to Affirmation and say, hey, I want to be a part of this. I'm straight, I'm not gay, but I really want to be a part of this. So my question for you is, how do we make allyship more visible in the community for the allies people right here? Because as LGBT, as a member of this LGBTQ community, I've done my best. I went on Honolulu Pride to make this group visible on the island. However, we still need the help from the allies to make people feel like, oh, it is okay to be straight, straight and to be in this LGBTQ group because I just love and support them. So how do we make the allyship more visible in the community?
Yeah, I think that maybe like a question that includes your question is like, how do I be a good ally for groups that I'm like not a part of? So if you're, for example, want to be an ally for our affirmation chapter, but you're straight, or if you want to be a great ally for our Indigenous, BIPOC, Black communities, but you're not in that community, how do you be a good ally? I would say that using your platform in productive ways is a great way to start. So if you want to be an ally, then post about it on your Instagram and give out resources that you know of. So like for me personally, I like to be an ally for Mama Earth. Like I'm very into like environmental studies. And so I try to like tell people about my volunteer opportunities that I have whenever I can. Also, starting my own forum, the Genderbread Forum, letting people know in a positive way, in a comfortable space about different aspects of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So if you are not a part of a community, but you want to be an ally, that's just as much needed. You can volunteer for, different organizations and be a help. But I would just say, as long as you're emphasizing other people's voices that are in that community and you're not taking away, you're being a really good ally and you're trying. So I don't know if that answers that question, but, just share where you can and be open about it and be loving about it. And it's a great way to start.
how we're also seeing some questions now coming in our chat about, how do I get involved if I'm not in Hawaii, or I want to support affirmation. And you typed here that there's 67 chapters around the world, right? So it's not just something that's here in Hawaii, but it's a worldwide organization.
Right.
Yes.
It is an international nonprofit organizations, and most of the stuffs right here, we're working a lot with our church leaders, bishops, and all of the connections and inspiration and organizations that we can to support our LGBTQ community right here. And if you want to serve in your area, you can visit affirmation.org, or if you have the love for Hawaii, especially for our LGBTQ students here at BYU Hawaii, feel free to reach out at Affirmation Hawaii chapter on Facebook. We're looking for more people to join, and it is okay if you want to do remote, because most of us, like, even though we're all here in Hawaii, most of the stuff we're doing is mostly online, so there are opportunities and chance to join us. So yeah, hit us up at Affirmation Hawaii chapter on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep, get involved, you guys. Step one.
I also think a great example of this, and someone that I recently did a podcast with is Richard Osler, who just wrote a book, Listen, Learn, and Love. Has an organization, listenlearnandlove.org, as well, and who has been, I think, a good example of an ally, right, to thousands and thousands of young Latter-day Saints, and has used this platform to raise their voices, to talk about critical issues. And so and the podcast is wonderful.
Yes, thank you for bringing up Chad. I had a visit with Vice President Cal of BYU Hawaii in his office, and I saw that book on his desk, and he was sharing with me, oh, it's just my, reading before bed every night, and that just gives me so much hope for our LGBTQ students right here at BYU Hawaii.
I also just think the title of the book is such a great title for allyship, right? I listen, right? I learn. I don't just listen and not let it penetrate me, but I learn from other people's experiences and other people's pain and what have you. And I show love, in response to that. Like it's a really great three tools in the tool set for allyship that I think are really important. And notice what's not there. I'm not teaching, I'm not judging, right? I'm not trying to persuade anybody, over to my beliefs. I'm as an ally, I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to grow in my understanding of people who have had experiences that maybe I haven't experienced in my own life. And then how do I show love and support?
Yeah. And I think a really big part of that as well is just being humble about it and knowing that you haven't had those experiences, and you might never have those experiences. In my allyship, I've made mistakes and I've been, called out like, hey, that's not an appropriate question to ask, or like, this is something better that you can do, or I actually disagree with something that you post. And my first reaction personally is always like, no, I'm not trying to help, like, I'm sorry. But it's not really about you. It's about what you're trying to help and the problem that you're trying to solve together. So a big thing with allyship is just be open to being wrong, and be open to new perspectives, and be open to listening and learning, because you're going to make a mistake, and it's okay. And that's part of the process.
Thank you, Bella. That is awesome. One thing I find very helpful about being allyship from my friends is that she come to me and she said, well, this is not about me, so I'm sorry if I ever make mistake, but I'm here, I'm willing to listen and learn. Let's make this about you. How can I support you? So I'm really grateful for all of the allies that I've been getting around here, especially in Laie, Hawaii, and from BYU Hawaii. So that gives me so much hope for the future of our LGBTQ communities right here.
Yeah, thanks, Hal. Yeah, and if you guys have any more questions on how to get involved with that, we had a professor that taught here, and I've still been working with her, Shemina. She might be speaking next semester on kind of like what she's been doing. But yeah, she's a really great resource. And if you'd like to get in touch with that or be more involved in that, just let me know. Are there any other questions?
I see one here, Bella. This is on Facebook. I haven't taken any classes in IPB, but I want to volunteer for the winter semester, even with COVID, what do you recommend me to do?
Yeah, I think that volunteer opportunities right now have been a little bit touch and go. Specifically with IPB, I know that I'm trying to put together some projects with my team where people can help remotely. None of those have kind of solidified yet, but I would say like just helping, there's a lot of work to be done right now remotely and in your communities. And a really big part of my peace building journey is being really involved heavily in the communities. So wherever you're at, there's help to be done. There's food drives, there's homelessness drives, there's just, helping the people in your communities around you. If you want to get involved, then I would just say, search and research and find something that you're passionate about. Peace building program opportunities will come up and we'll let you know. If you're not already following our Facebook or Instagram page, I'd recommend doing so. So if you see any opportunities, you can get involved through and know about that through those resources and be able to hop on.
Bella, could you give us the handles for our Instagram and I know it's McKay Center Peace Builders at Facebook.
Yeah, I think our Instagram is BYUH David O. McKay Center, or you could just search up BYU Hawaii Peace Building. Yeah, Facebook is our McKay Center Peace Builders, and we don't have a Twitter, but we do have what's it called? And a blog, a website. So davidomckaycenter.com. You can find us there.
I want to add one thing to what Bella's talking about in these unique times that we're in right now, and I'm especially thinking about COVID. And I certainly probably can see in your own life, and if not, you can certainly read the news and a bunch of research that's showing that the level of depression, the level of social isolation that people are feeling, the mental health challenges that are deeply felt by so many people right now. And if you already have mental health challenges, they've been exacerbated, they've been magnified in many ways. And I have found more than any time in my life, and maybe this is just me opening my eyes to it, that what so many people need is just my time. Just checking in, having a conversation, checking in on how they're feeling, what they're doing right now. And I can't tell you just how many experiences that I've had with that. Everyone from people who are elderly, who often are really shut in these particular sorts of circumstances right now because of the risk that COVID faces, to people who might just be alone right now. And because people are practicing social distancing or whatever, they feel very socially isolated at the moment. And I've been trying to make it part of my practice every day that I try to reach out to a few people every day that I just think might a nice Zoom call or a nice phone call just might help. And to me, the essence of peace building is really around building relationships, right? And showing care and concern and love for people. And that may not seem like the most exciting or dramatic sort of peace building in the world, but I really feel deeply like there's so many people who need it right now and need it desperately. And so one easy thing that everybody on this call can simply do is like, who do I know in my life right now who might be feeling that way, who might be struggling with depression or feeling isolated or feeling hopeless or feel like they don't have anything to look forward to right now, or who might be alone right now, who might be struggling financially because they've lost their job because of this or what have you. I mean, there's so many needs out there, and taking that opportunity and that sort of one-on-one sort of setting, I think has just been really powerful. And I know that I've had to change my patterns quite a bit about what I normally do, because I've just noticed that's what a lot of people have needed. And so, trying to do that. And that's a great way to start. Certainly if you can get connected to organizations and other things, but I know for many of those organizations, they're struggling with the same things right now and getting people together and, how to sort of organize in these moments. And so what a great opportunity. And I just, it's not probably like the most maybe it's inspiring thing in the world, but I try to make a list like every week of these are the people that I'm going to reach out to this week, and I just try to be thoughtful about who those people might be, and try to just schedule something with them. So certainly something that to think about at this time of COVID, and something I think that would be deeply appreciated.
Yeah, I second that 100%. The biggest difference that you can make is just in your own lives and in your own communities doing what you can. So yeah, that's the baseline of it.
Bella, thank you so much for coming on and doing all this today. Hal, thanks for jumping in as well. And we got to see your face and all the great things that you're doing. This is going to be our last forum for this semester. We have a faculty meeting next semester, and then it's Thanksgiving, and then we're kind of into finals, and we know that our students are really busy. But we will be picking these forums up again starting next semester. We'll be inviting more alumni to come in and speak. Some of our current students are going to be on the docket as well. And if any of you have any ideas of topics that you would really like us to address in the coming semester, we would love to hear from you. We haven't filled out all of those slots yet. And so if there's a particular topic that you would love to see a forum around, I know we're going to talk about environment and peace building next semester. We're going to talk about restorative justice. We're going to talk about gender and peace building, and we're going to get Shemena on here to think about that. And as you sort of think about things that you're really interested in or passionate about, and would like to know more, or even if you have a recommendation of someone that you wish we would have on this to speak, or if you think that's you and you have a presentation that you would like to make and share your work or your research with others, we welcome all of that. And so you can email me at chad.ford@byuh.edu with your idea for any of these forums, and we'll get you going. And David Whippy's asking me, where do you find the YouTube link for this? Because we'll actually run all of this on YouTube. And so that's a great question. I think it's McKay Center Peace Builders at YouTube. I'm looking up.
We are we're in the process of linking all of that up to our Instagram. So if you follow our Instagram, you'll be able to find it through there as well.
We were seeing different.
That's a great question. I don't know why I don't have the YouTube link right in front of me right here. But we do have a channel. It is under McKay Center Peace Builders. Oh wait, here it is. I'm finding it right now.
Realized I need to record this.
Sorry for the pause. Our channel is called McKay Center Peace Builders. And all of these videos you're able to see at McKay Center Peace Builders via our YouTube channel as well. Thanks, everybody. Thank you again, Bella. Thanks for coming, participating this semester.
Thanks, Bella.
Really hope to hear your ideas for the next.
Al.
Really appreciate everybody. Aloha.